I'm 41 years old, and this is the simple daily meal plan that has me leaner and more toned at 41 than I ever was at 21. And in today's video, I'm going to break down this simple meal plan that has allowed me to lose 50 pounds and keep it off. And here's the thing, I've also coached hundreds of clients over the last 11 years of working in the health and fitness industry, and this is the same meal plan that I have found works for the vast majority of clients that I work with. Let's dive in. Now, the very first thing that I do every single morning, as soon as my alarm clock goes off at 4:30 a.m., now you don't have to get up at 4:30 a.m., that's just the time that I get up, but the first thing that I do is I hydrate with water and electrolytes before I have any food or coffee or anything else. And to do that, what I essentially do is make what you've heard me talk about on this channel many times before is a hydration cocktail. Essentially a homemade Gatorade or a homemade Liquid IV or a homemade Element. So what I do is I take 32 to 40 ounces of clean water, put it in my favorite water bottle, which is the Owala Free Sip, and then I pair that with anywhere from 1/8 to 1/2 teaspoon of pink Himalayan salt for the sodium and the electrolytes. Then I add typically 1/8 teaspoon of potassium chloride powder. And then lastly, I finish it off with 1 packet of my favorite flavoring, which is going to be any flavoring really from Crystal Light. This is the strawberry. I usually like the fruit punch the most, but I don't have any fruit punch here with me. So I whip that up, shake it up in the bottle, drink that first to rehydrate my body, because through the night, your body dehydrates. And that's why we wake up groggy and brain fog and we feel like we have zero energy in the morning. It's not because we need caffeine, and it's also not because we need food. What we really need is to replace the water and the electrolytes that we lost in the nighttime. And so that is why I start here with this first. Now, once I have my hydration back up to par with the hydration cocktail, then I will move on, and as I'm getting ready, I will enjoy some coffee. Now for me, what I like to do is I like to enjoy my coffee with something like a Premier protein shake for my creamer. Now I like this because while it does add some calories to my coffee, it also adds protein to the beginning of my day. And then I'll sweeten it a little bit more with anywhere from 2 to 4 packets of Splenda. So I'll whip this up and I'll probably have anywhere from probably about 1/5 of this shake in each cup of coffee. And I'll probably have 2 to 3 cups of this coffee concoction as I'm just going throughout my morning. Once I've hydrated and I've had coffee, my body doesn't feel the need to eat. And so I don't prefer to eat breakfast in the morning. What I will do instead is I won't actually eat a breakfast or have any snacks first thing in the morning. When I get to lunchtime, this is where it starts to get fun. Now, I prefer to have bigger meals. I don't like to have a bunch of small meals throughout the day. I like to have bigger meals, which is also why I skip breakfast. Because if I skip breakfast, it allows me to take what those breakfast calories would have been and kind of sprinkle them into my 2 remaining meals, which is lunch and dinner, so that I can have a bigger meal at lunch and dinner. So this example right here, there are actually 3 meals that I eat the most right now for lunch. And typically for lunch, what I'm going to have is a 600 calorie meal that is about 40% protein or higher. This one right here, I don't know if you can see it. I'll have to move my head. It's kind of hard to see. This is a bowl of the sweet fire chicken recipe from my cookbook. And so it has about 1/2 cup of steamed jasmine rice. It has about 7 or 8 ounces of air fried chicken nuggets. It has onions and peppers diced, and it uses G. Hughes sweet fire or sweet chili sauce, which is a very, very low calorie sauce that, and you whip those things together. And I'll actually include a quick video here if you want to show you exactly how that recipe is made. But I start with something like this. I'll either have this sweet fire chicken dish, or sometimes I will have a shrimp carbonara, which is a pasta dish from my cookbook. Or sometimes I will have something like a stroganoff, like a beef stroganoff that I have meal prepped in the crock pot or on the stove. And either way, what I'm having is about a 600 calorie meal at lunch. Again, 600 calories, 40% protein. So this will really satiate me for a while, but oftentimes what I will want is I want some kind of a snack between lunch and dinner. And so between lunch and dinner, this is where I'm usually going to have some kind of a protein bar. Now, for me, there are three that I tend to go for the most. This first one here is a pure protein bar. I don't know if you can see it there. This is their chocolate peanut butter. I buy these the most because they are relatively cheap at just over $1 per bar. I get them from Walmart. Another bar that I absolutely love are these Built bars. So this is the Built Puff Bar, about 140 calories, 17 grams of protein, really great bar. And then lastly, I will use, my favorite is a legendary protein pastry, but I couldn't find any of the protein pastries in the house, but I did have a pack of their legendary donuts. So these are really good, under 200 calories, 20 grams of protein. So mid-afternoon, between lunch and dinner, I'm typically going to have one of these options to keep building on the protein base for the day and to also just kind of give me a little sweet treat between lunch and dinner. Then we get to dinner time and I'm gonna have another big meal, around 600 calories or less and about 40% protein. And so one example is this meal right here. And so what you see right here, this is the teriyaki bacon and cheese burger. And then we have about 4 ounces of air fried chicken nuggets here. And then we have the rest of the onions and peppers that were left over after I sauteed the onions and peppers and put them on the burger. And I just put them here so I have some more non-starchy vegetables. I have my burger here and I have some chicken nuggets to finish out the meal. Now this meal is amazing. This meal comes out to be like about 570, 580 calories for this whole plate, but it's almost 50% protein, if you can believe that. It's absolutely incredible. And this is one of the things that I talk about so frequently on this channel and when I'm teaching folks about sustainable weight loss is what you'll notice here is I'm curating this meal plan for a couple of things. Number one, I'm fitting this daily meal plan around my preferences. So I don't prefer to eat in the morning. I prefer to just get up and hydrate and work out and have coffee and be productive in the morning. So I don't eat in the mornings. I prefer bigger meals. So I take those calories and I move them into my lunch and dinner to suit my preferences. And then lastly, I love certain foods. I love Chinese food. I love burgers and chicken nuggets. I love pasta. And so what I'm doing is I'm making sure that the meals that I'm gonna eat are like all of the recipes from my cookbook. They're intended to be my favorite meals made in a healthier way by swapping out products, right? So like the chicken that I used in this sweet fire chicken dish is a higher protein, lower calorie form of a chicken nugget. The sweet chili sauce that I used here from G. Hughes is only 5 calories per 2 tablespoons, and it tastes amazing. Over here with the burger, I swapped a regular bun out for a Lewis keto bun that has 0 carbohydrate, and it's about 70 calories for the bun, which is way lower in carbohydrate and calories than a typical bun would be. I used fat-free American cheese singles, which is about 70% protein. I used real bacon because I love real bacon, but I used 96% lean ground beef to get the fat calories from the beef really far down. And again, I use that higher protein, lower calorie chicken here. So I'm curating everything for my preferences, which is the most important thing to keep in mind. And this is also why this not only works for me, but this tends to work really well for my clients as well, because we're building things, we're building our daily eating around our preferences, right? So we covered hydration, we covered the coffee with the Premier Protein Creamer, we covered a big lunch, 600 calories, protein snack in the mid-afternoon, nice big dinner at around 600 calories, and again, over 40% protein. Now, what I will do is I will have a bedtime snack. Now, I can already hear some of you saying, but Matt, I've always heard that you shouldn't eat after like 5 or 6 p.m., that you shouldn't eat close to bedtime because it's gonna jack with your sleep and blah, 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 blah. Here's what I have found over 11 years of coaching myself and hundreds of clients in the weight loss industry, specifically the sustainable weight loss industry. The impact of eating food close to bedtime is way less than the struggle of trying not to eat food in the evening time for most of us mortal human beings. Most people are like me in America. They are married, they have kids, they've worked hard all day long. They get home in the evening time and they just want to relax. They just want to hang out with the family, eat a nice dinner, and then maybe enjoy some snacks while they relax in the evening time. And a guru on the internet telling you that you shouldn't eat after 5 or 6 p.m. or within 3 hours of bedtime, well, that sounds nice, but I know as a coach who's coached hundreds of people that the evening time is where most people struggle. And why do they struggle? Because they're trying not to eat, and then they're just feeling all that tension and all that resistance. So they end up caving and they end up eating things that are not the right choices. And they end up overeating because of that sense and that feeling of restriction. So what I like to do is I like to plan for that late night bedtime snack. And so I will budget that in for the day. And usually what I will do is I will have a bowl of a protein cereal like the Ghost Cinnadust or the Ghost PB cereal with about 8 ounces of a high protein, fat-free milk like this Kroger Carb Master vanilla milk, which is my absolute favorite milk in the entire world. It is so dang good. And then I'll have something like that. Or maybe I'll whip up a half of a pint of protein ice cream in the Ninja Creami that's over there in the corner. Or maybe I'll have something like a Yasso bar, a Yasso yogurt bar, 100 calories. Or maybe I'll have a bag of 100 calorie Orville Redenbacher Smart Pop. The point is I have saved calories because I didn't have breakfast and I didn't have that morning snack. I've essentially moved the breakfast calories and split them between these two bigger meals. And then I took that snack that I didn't have earlier in the day and moved it all the way back here to the end of the day to enjoy with my family, which again suits my preferences. And here's the thing. Again, this has worked wonders for me and many of my clients because we're not resisting the urge to eat in the evening time. And most of us like to eat nice big meals. So here's the thing. I told you guys before that I was going to show you not just why this works for me and my clients, but I'm going to show you sort of the genius behind it and how to adapt it to you so that you could actually build your own meal plan without counting calories and macros and logging everything that you eat every single day. Would you like to know how to do that? All right, hold on. Let me clear this table and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. All right, now what I'm about to teach you is what I call the building block method. And this is exactly what we teach our clients at Healthy and Whole to help them learn how to track their food on a daily basis to lose or maintain weight in a way that doesn't make them count and log every calorie, bite, sip, nibble that they eat throughout the day. So it's a much more sustainable way to control your calorie intake without having to do all of that. And it's called the building block method. Now, to do this, we have to understand that we essentially have what's called a meal block and a snack block. So I have two different blocks here, or two different sized blocks to portray that. So a meal block is typically going to be around 400 calories and about 40% protein or higher. That's what we're shooting for a single meal block serving. So we're basically looking at a standard to shoot for the meal in front of us. And then a snack block is going to be roughly anything 200 calories or less and at least 40% protein for a high protein snack block. And so if we ate 3 meal blocks a day and 2 high protein snack blocks a day, these meal blocks at 400 calories plus the snack blocks at 200 calories each adds up to a sustainable baseline of around 1,600 calories per day and 40% protein, which would be about 160 grams of protein if you ate this for the average person who's walking 8,000 steps a day, working out 3 times a week, and eating roughly 1,600 calories and getting that much protein, they're going to lose weight at a very exciting rate, which is awesome. Now, occasionally, you might have someone who's saying, I'm losing too fast, in which case you could just add another snack block or add another meal block to slow your rate of weight loss down. And occasionally, you might have someone who's saying, I'm losing too slow and I'm already hitting my 8,000 steps a day and I'm working out, but I'm still losing too slowly. And if that's you, then I would say, look at the accuracy of your calories and your protein content first. But if need be, you could take away a snack block or something like that to increase your weight loss rate, but that should be a last resort, okay? So here's what I did when I built my meal plan that works really well for me. Instead of doing the typical breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner makeup that a lot of people tell you should eat because they say you should eat first thing in the morning, I said, you know what, screw that. That doesn't work for me. I don't feel like I need to eat in the morning. I just want to hydrate and have some coffee and get to work. So what I did is I took this 400 calorie meal block and I broke it in half. And I took those 200 calories from, or that 2 blocks of 200 calories, and I added them to my meals to go from 400 calories to 600 calories for those 2 meals that I really enjoy. And then what I did is I took that snack from the morning time and I moved it back to the end of the day for my bedtime snack. And that's how I made this work for me. But here's what's cool is when you learn how to do this, you can rearrange these however you want. You could eat 3 meals and 2 snacks a day, just like a normal person. Or you could say, you know what? I don't need to eat breakfast, but I love a huge dinner. So I'm going to skip breakfast and maybe I'm going to have a morning snack and a normal size lunch and a afternoon snack. And then I'm going to have a massive dinner at 800 calories. Or you could say, you know what? I don't need that breakfast, but maybe I want to have a huge bedtime snack, like a whole pint of Ninja Creamy ice cream or a massive bowl of protein cereal. Well, you could say 400 calories for that. Or maybe you could say, okay, you know what? I want to have 2 snacks in the evening time. So I'm going to take this meal and break it up and have 2 different 200 calorie snacks in the evening time, just as I'm chilling with the family. You could do that. Or you could say, you know what? I'm going out to eat at the restaurant tonight and I want to have a lot of flexibility at the restaurant. So I'm going to just not eat any meals throughout the day and I'm going to save all 1,200 calories of my meal blocks for that restaurant. And I'm just going to have low calorie beverages and a couple of protein bars or protein snacks throughout the day. And now you've gone, made it through the whole day, had a couple of snacks, and you have 1,200 calories to play with at that restaurant to stay on track in the evening time. So hopefully you can kind of see how this adds a huge layer of flexibility to how you can choose to arrange your typical day of eating to eat the right amount of calories in the way that suits you and your typical lifestyle and your preferences. And this is where it all really starts to come together. And what's cool is you now can do this without having to count calories and macros, because the only thing that you have to do is just make sure that the meal or the snack that you're about to eat fits the calories or the blocks that you budgeted for that meal or for that snack, right? So when I eat lunch, I just need to make sure that whatever lunch I'm going to eat fits within that 600 calories and 40% protein, because that's the budget that I gave myself for my block for that lunch. Same thing for dinner. I just have to make sure that it fits within that 600 calories and 40% protein. If I'm not doing that, let's say I'm going to do 800 calories at dinner. I'm combining 2 meal blocks. Then all I have to do when I get to dinner is just really quick double check that I think that what I'm going to eat there is going to fall within that. I don't have to log it. I don't have to do all that stuff. All I have to think about is, as I go throughout the day, roughly where am I at with my blocks? Very, very simple. Building block method. I guarantee you we have had hundreds of clients use this now and be successful. And if you start to think this way, it will take a little bit of time to learn up front. But once you have learned it, it will enable you to be free from having to count calories and macros, and it will allow you to think about your your food and your calorie deficit and all of that stuff in a much more relaxed and laid back way, just like human beings tend to. We like to think about meals and snacks, not calories and macros and logging everything that we eat. Real quick note here on the building block method. One of the things that makes this work extremely well in the long run is building a bigger and bigger menu of meals and snacks that you know and trust fit into the calorie and protein ranges that we're shooting for. So you want to build a bigger and bigger menu of meals that fit that 400 calories or less and that 40% protein. A bigger and bigger menu of protein snacks that hit that 200 calories or less range and 40% protein or higher. And then you also want to have some 600 and maybe even some 800 calorie options that fit those days where you want to double up a meal block, or you want to do 1.5 meal blocks or something like that, like you see me do in my meal plan. One of the things that we do for our clients is we give them a cookbook full of meal options that automatically fit the standards for meal blocks and snack blocks so that our clients can just grab and go from that cookbook. And so what I have done is I have pulled 58 of the best recipes, the fan favorites, so to speak, from my cookbook, and I put them into a best of the Healthy and Whole Cookbook Volume 1. And you can get that down below via a link in the description if you want a sort of a treasure trove or a kickstarting menu for your journey to really give you some options that you can just plug and play into your meal plan as you're getting used to the building block method. Hope that helps. And one last thing that's really cool about the building block method is what happens when you get to maintenance. Because when you get to maintenance and you don't want to lose any more weight, all you have to do is scale this up to pull yourself out of the calorie deficit. So you could do that by adding in additional meal blocks or additional snack blocks or any combination of the two. Maybe instead of having 3 meal blocks throughout the day, you have 4. Maybe instead of having 2 protein snack blocks throughout the day, you have 3 or 4. You just scale it up until you come out of the calorie deficit and you're no longer losing weight. And now you feel like you're feasting and eating like a king or a queen, and that is super sustainable. So that is, again, the building block method. One last quick note before you go. I recently hosted a free masterclass called the Your Last Reset Masterclass. And in that masterclass, I went way deeper on these topics of the building block method, how to have simple meals at home, how to order in gas stations and at restaurants, and all those things that are sort of the foundational learnings around how to find meals and snacks inside and outside of the home that fit into the building block method. And so I have a link down below in the description. You can get the free recording of that masterclass and all of the bonuses that I gave away to people who attended live. You can get those as well. So it's 100% free. Go down, grab that, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.